One of the things that I thought was very lacking when I first started to try and assemble some of these traffic signal parts was information on exactly how all of this stuff works. So this video I'm going to try and explain a little bit about that, and hopefully this can help out anyone who might be trying to put some of this stuff together. The first thing to understand is that the signal modules themselves run on 120 volts. And that voltage is not directly supplied by the controller. That voltage is supplied by the load switches, which are these devices here. Now each load switch contains 3 solid-state relays that, when grounded, switch on, supplying the 120 volts to the signal module that needs to be indicated. And the voltage that is grounded comes from a 25 volt power supply. I picked this one up on Amazon for maybe around 15 bucks or so. And when that 25 volts is grounded, the load switch switches on and that indication is displayed. The 25 volts is grounded to the controller, and this is what's called the C1 connector, and this is on the back side of my 170 controller. And the thing to remember with this that's kind of counterintuitive is that the outputs are grounds and the inputs are 12 volt sources. So what's an output and what's an input? Well, an output would be, for example, a green light, a green through indication. And an input would be a detection from a loop detector, or excuse me, or a pedestrian push button that is pushed to get a walk indication. So that 25 volt power supply is grounded to this C1 connector. And when the controller wants to give a certain indication, that pin is opened and allowed to be grounded to the 25 volts, which in turn switches on the load switch, and that 120 volts is then supplied via the load switch to the indication. So that's really how the theory of the operation works. When it comes to a pedestrian push button, 12 volts is supplied from the controller to the push button itself, and then that push button is then again grounded to the controller. So when the push button is pushed, it allows that 12 volts to flow from the controller back to the controller, which then tells the controller that the push button has been pushed and to run that pedestrian cycle. So that's a little bit more about how these operate. And if you guys have any questions, just leave a message and I'll try and respond to it when I'm able. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.